You have speaker sessions with them where they talk about their experiences, you ask them questions, and you learn and you understand how the industry's changed from where it was 30 years ago, not very women friendly, to where we are right now.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to this episode, Heroes of Sokrati. I am Manoj Vanjari. I am the host for the conversation today. We have with us today Anuradha, who is the director, Sales Enablement, and she is going to focus her conversation on various aspects, specifically about the women leadership and how Dentsu and Merkle do not have any kind of a gender bias, but very happy to welcome you, Anuradha, for this episode, Heroes of Sokrati, and thanks for your time. So, Anuradha, would you like to share a little about yourself and how it has been at Sokrati up till now?
Yeah, pleasure. Lovely speaking with you, Manoj. So I've been associated with Sokrati since Sokrati was a small startup since the year 2014. That was when I first joined, and I was working directly with Santosh. And I was taking care of the small and medium business team along with him. So my association started from there. I took a small break in the middle. I went on maternity and I came back to join Sokrati, where it was already Merkle Sokrati. That was in 2018. And right after I joined back, I had another baby. So I went on another maternity leave. And then I came back in the end of 2020. So my journey so far in Sokrati has been wonderful. The reason I joined back Sokrati after my small career break was because of the flexibility, was because Santosh and the founders actually reached out and made it very clear that it is not a place where you either have to choose your career or your family. You can actually have a bit of both. And they were wonderful in the support, and it was wonderful coming back to an organization where you're so familiar, and you also know that it's changed because it's gone from a small startup to an established company now taken over by Merkle. So it's been a wonderful journey so far, and I mean, it just talks about the company that you leave and you come back. That's how much it attracts you, and that's how that it's a great place for a work-life balance for me. So yeah, happy to be here.
Great. I think that was very interesting kickoff and a nice introduction, Anuradha. Let's move on to something, since you have done a stint of starting very early with the organization in its nascent stage, plus taking a break and managing your family. What is that very unique about Sokrati that differentiates us from the others?
Okay. So I would say the people and the culture. Um, so my the beginning of my career was in very big companies. So I've had experiences working in the biggest of big companies, and this was the first time I actually joined a startup in 2014. So I was very apprehensive,
Sure.
but it was very eye-opening for me, because all the apprehensions I had from coming from a big company to a small company, how would that be? How would the startup culture be? It was a
Sure.
pleasant surprise, because the people that were there in the organization in Sokrati and the culture that was there is comparable to, at that moment in time when it was a small company, it was comparable to the biggest giants around. And that is what made us stick. So the founders were very clear about um, finding people who were just like you or even better, and making sure that the culture is ingrained and everyone has their own way of giving back to the company and making it better. So that
Fantastic.
is what was very unique and still is about Sokrati. When I train my team to go ahead and hire people in our company, the only mandate I have for them is hire someone who's better than you. So you learn from them, and then that the peer learning is continued. So that is something that I've noticed in Sokrati, and I'm very proud of.
So now that we know about the whole journey which you have, and I'm sure this is just the beginning of the long roadmap you must be having for yourself. So what will be interesting to hear is, how do you continue to grow as a leader, and how do you develop yourself in the journey of the leadership?
Okay. Um, so I think we learn a lot from, like I mentioned, from our peers. And the way to grow yourself is literally to learn from others. When I joined Merkle in 2018, my boss was Prasad Deshpande, who was a fabulous mentor to have. And then it got taken over by Vivek, who's my current boss. So just seeing how people tackle different problems, learning in the way people are managing their teams. You also learn by seeing other people make mistakes. You learn by looking at examples led by the other people in your organization. And
Yeah.
in general, in Dentsu and in Merkle, there's a huge push in upskilling yourself, not only with training programs, but we also have like online and offline learning programs. So I am a part of the Women in Leadership program in Merkle, where we have a lot of options of a lot of workshops where we get industry women from the industry who stalwarts in the industry, who made a mark for themselves in the industry. And you have speaker sessions with them where they talk about their experiences, you ask them questions, and you learn and you understand how the industry's changed from where it was 30 years ago, not very women friendly, to where we are right now. And we also have upskilling sessions where they train you how to speak, they train you how to literally mentor your other female colleagues who are lower down the ladder. As a
Sure.
part of Dentsu APAC, I'm also a part of the Women at Dentsu APAC group, where we have these training sessions where we're giving trainings by the senior leaders who are women on
Sure.
how to negotiate stuff like salary. Women have traditionally been very uncomfortable talking about finances. So
Yes.
how do you ask for that promotion? How do you talk about salary? So as a woman in a leadership position, it gets very difficult to find mentors as a woman to look up to.
Absolutely.
You have men around everywhere, and they're very, very supportive in Dentsu, in Merkle and Sokrati. But as a woman, who else do you ask? There are certain questions as a woman that you want guidance on that maybe the men will not be able to understand. So who do you
Sure.
reach out to? So these kind of training sessions bring you up as a woman, as a leader, as well as the part of the management. A
Uh,
very important part of Dentsu's culture is, I think Dentsu is pretty much one of the very few, or probably the only company which says we want to have women's representation at every stage of the ladder. So it's always the fact that, so Socrates has a lot of women employees. We have a great gender ratio, but it
sure.
has been seen in the industry and everywhere that as women get along the ladder, your family comes in, you get married, you have kids. So you kind of start dropping out and focusing on your family and other priorities. So there's very less representation of women on top. So Dentsu is one of the few companies who want 50% representation at all levels of the ladder. So it's very
Fantastic.
important for us also to hire accordingly, to groom people accordingly. So it's not that just because you're a woman, you'll get more opportunities. No. As a woman, especially in a cultural place like India, where traditionally you've not been the one to be pushed forward, it's very important to bring out that talent and grow them. So that's I'm very proud of the fact that Dentsu, Merkle, Sokrati have this imbibed in their culture, and they're
Sure.
pushing this forward for everyone.
Great, Anuradha. I'm slightly going to move ahead and take this conversation since you opened the thread on women leadership and grooming and hiring the right kind of the folks. And one thing which you mentioned definitely that there has to be 50% representation at the top of the women leadership. I'm sure this must be creating a lot of conflicts. This must be also having some resistance internally with the teams and otherwise. So, how do you deal with these conflicts and obstacles, and how do you even motivate your team to deal with these conflicts?
So, at least in my team and my greater team, we've made it very clear that what speaks for you is your work, and your career progression is always in your hands. So, there's
Okay,
only so much I can do as a manager. I can
sure,
motivate you, I can mentor you, I can show you where you are lacking to get to the next step. But
correct,
your ultimate growth is always in your own hands. So, whenever there's any discussion about moving forward, promotions, career growth so far, everyone in my team, at least, the roles are very defined, and we're working on creating expectations of every level. So we
right,
have a very clear set of guidelines that if you want to move at that level, you have to be performing at that level, and the performance at the level is A, B, C, D, and E. So it's very
correct,
clear on everyone's platter that, okay, to move forward to the next level, this is what I have to do. And we have a real-time reporting dashboard where everyone timesheets regularly. So every day they write what they're working on, and it's updated on a daily basis. So as a
Fantastic.
real time, I have a real time understanding of how my team is performing. We also have quality analysis. So we QC all our work, and we understand it's open for everyone to see. No information is hidden. So you see where you are standing in the team. How is your productivity? How is your efficiency? How is your quality? So
Yes.
ultimately, when the judgment day comes of who's moving
Yes.
forward, you
Yes.
have your stats in front of you, and you can see, okay, I am at this position. I have folks under me. I have one person above me. So it's a
True.
very black and white scenario. So I haven't really faced that many pushbacks as such, or made it very difficult because it's very black and white. Yeah.
What, according to you, do you think we look for in a candidate when we are hiring?
So skills are non-negotiable. You have to have the right background, because if you want to be a part of the team that already has a particular skill set, we expect you to come in with that set so you hit the ground running. After that, what we look at is team fitment. So we have multiple layers of interviews where you talk to um, the people who will report to you will also talk to you, and they will see if you are someone who they can freely express themselves with, who they can speak with, who they can work with.
Sure.
Then we have the part where we check on the skill sets, where the senior folks come and ask you questions about, okay, does he or she understand what are the requirements of this role? Does he or she have experience in requirements of this role? And after
Sure.
that comes the manager level, where we look at team fitment, we look at the person's attitude, we look at communication skills, and we look at the desire for this person to learn and imbibe and become a part of a team. So the team spirit is non-negotiable in my team, at least. We always work as a part of a team. We pull each other up when anyone else falls down. So there's no
Sure.
I. So that's a very important integration part of any recruitment process right now.
Thanks, Anuradha, for very clearly articulating what are our hiring criteria which are there. Okay. Now I'm going to focus a little more channelized to your challenging role, which is sales enablement. Because sales is all about, there is no template. There is no tried and tested, which has worked yesterday can work even today. So I'm sure, apart from your communication, negotiation, thinking out of box, innovation, creativity is definitely going to be there. So how do you encourage this creativity, innovative, or this thinking within your group or your organization?
So one thing that my team does is we have a lot of catch ups internally. We have a literal 5 minute sync up daily. So to explain, my sales enablement team is the central sales enablement team of Dentsu worldwide.
Right.
Anywhere, any pitch opportunity that comes up in the world under Dentsu, all of that support comes into the India team that is based out of Sokrati right now. So we have a
Wow.
content team and a research team. So if they have any requirements of creating any thought leadership piece, or they have a sales pitch going out for like a Volkswagen in the US, and they want to understand how the automotive market is in the US, all that work is done by our teams over here. So it's very important to sync up on a daily basis, understand where the challenges are. Sometimes we have an overnight flood of requests. Sometimes we don't have much requests coming in at all. So we plan our work. We always encourage people to come up with ideas, and we pivot very fast. So
True.
this creativity part is always managed by our team itself. They
Very.
come up with ideas, we brainstorm a lot, we present a lot, and once you start speaking as a group and you start vocalizing problems, automatically 10 minds working together comes up to a solution.
Absolutely.
And we take it up and we implement it as fast as we possibly can, check the results for a month or so. If it works, it stays. If it doesn't work, we pivot and we change again. So that's how
Fantastic.
we work very creatively amongst ourselves.
Since things have changed and will continue to change, as a sales enabler, what according to you you foresee in the business perspective?
Okay. um, Going forward, remote working is what is happening. There are presentations that are taking place, sales calls are taking place all remotely. So what is really required is the presentation that you are going to be showing, the
Right.
preparation that you are going to be doing for that particular meeting is very important. So
Yes.
our team actually has a product by which we help the sales folks understand the background of the person he's speaking to. And that gets extremely important because you're not face to face, you're not physically in front of the person. So how do you get that connection with the person who you've just met on a screen right now? So the more background, the more research you do, the more you understand where's that person coming from, the more you can figure out what kind of questions might be thrown at you. For example, if someone's from an analytics background or he's in the digital marketing team, he will probably be asking you questions on how do you track, what are the different points or the tools that you use. And so you can literally figure out, okay, this is the kind of question that might get thrown at me. So I think preparation is becomes more and more important. That you go physically into an office, you shake hands, and you judge the person while talking is getting more and more limited with all of these work from home and COVID-19 concerns that are going on. So I think preparation is going to be that much more difficult, and what you present and the materials you leave behind after your meeting need to be that much more impactful.
Great. Now that we have moved into deeper understanding of coping with the business and evolving COVID-19 work from home, what are one or two critical challenges which you feel are in your role or in this whole chaotic things which are going through?
Okay. The most critical part is understanding the challenge of being at home and working. We have people who are fathers, we have people who are mothers, we have people who are primary caregivers. So that understanding that the person is also a person with a family, you're at home, kids will enter you. For all you know, you might see my couple of my kids behind me. Whenever they just come, all my colleagues all across Dentsu have seen my kids. Everyone said hello auntie and hello uncle to everyone. So it's very important to be empathetic. There will be times when you will be called for an emergency at home because you are at home, your kids and your family are there. As a woman, you have to cook dinner for your family. So you have to be empathetic, and work is always going to be there, but you have to be able to work as a team to figure out who gets to do what at which moment in time, and keeping that in mind moving forward and making sure every single SLA, every single timeline is met, all communication is kept intact. So we're very encouraging of the fact that please communicate and please over communicate. I'd rather have over communication than under communication.
True,
And
true.
let the person know if any timelines might be pushed earlier or might be pushed later, if you can deliver on time, before time, after time. So if you keep the flexibility on and if you keep the communication on, a lot of these critical problems which basically stem from you being a person at home with a family working get solved. In terms of you know training and understanding how to do this part of the work, we have internally we have senior folks who've taken up the responsibilities of creating a buddy program, creating a mentor program, creating a training program. We have recorded videos of every training that they can refer to whenever they have a problem. They have mentors and buddies assigned to who they reach out to directly to, or to the senior person on the same project. So we have created pokayoki for every single part, so we know any failure mode that might happen and we're planning for it. So I think pre-planning, like I said, planning is everything, especially in a remote situation. You have to plan of what are the possibilities that might happen which will stop you from delivering, and then have your plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D in place to make sure it doesn't happen. I would just like to add a couple of more things here. So because of me, so my stakeholders and I have been trying to create this team as a center of excellence, and we've succeeded in that. So my sales enablement team right now is a Dentsu Center of Excellence worldwide, and our team is literally the only team that has a negative attrition rate. We have people who left because it was not their fault really. It was a very, very new team at that moment in time. There wasn't enough work, and they're very, very ambitious people, so they left. They came back, and they've joined us back because they figured out that the culture that was over here, the balance of work and life that was available over here, was not available anywhere else. And they went to one of the biggest brands in the world. So to create that center of excellence, to create that environment where people are comfortable working, giving it their 100% at work, and understanding that their personal lives are also taken care of. And I'm very, very proud of the fact that we have a negative attrition.
Great. With that, I'm going to move towards a query or a question, which is that we know that we are soon moving to a model where we are being partners of our clients. So that's the model that we are moving, that we partners with our clients across their online journey. Okay. So what would you like to share or say about it, or whether you may wish to share how it is going to be, what benefits are going to be, or whatever. I leave it up to you.
So all you
Absolutely.
have to do is understand what the problem that your client is facing, putting yourself in the shoe and finding out if there's a possible solution. So our team does a lot of that. We figure out what the problem is. We do a lot of research around the industry, around the client, what has the top management like the CMO, CXO have said in interviews, and understand where the pain points are, and then start the dialogue with the client saying, okay, I understand you have these problems. Where can I step in to help? And there are multiple people across the business, multiple service lines across our business that can step in. And so the whole collaborative effort of Dentsu becoming Dentsu One is where it comes into play.
Absolutely. Very nicely, Anuradha. Very interesting insight which you have brought about. So, friends, we had with us Anuradha, who is the Director, Sales Enablement on the program Heroes of Sokrati. I am Manoj, and please keep watching us on this series, Heroes of Sokrati, where you get to hear right from the leaders what is it that drives at Sokrati, why and what they have learned, how the journey to the leadership happens, and what kind of folks would like to hire to it. So great, Anuradha. Thanks for your time and a wonderful conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you.